February 13th, it's the return, the glorious return of the real K&C, Ken Laird.
Chris Curtis.
You remember how to do one of these things?
Oh, man, good to be back. I missed you.
I missed you too, my friend. With 2 weeks since we've done one. We're a busy man in Super Bowl week. You were on the road, of course, with the guys, Kirk and Jerry and Joe Zarbano. Zarbano had you on a leash, basically? Is that why we couldn't do this in the afternoon?
SRZ, Swipe Right Zarbano.
Yeah, I was helping out with my great friends, OMF. They love my company.
You ate Curtis, don't you?
Yes. No, I didn't.
Who ate some more, Kirk or you?
Probably me.
And
You actually were doing things for the midday show.
Yes.
Who all hate your guts.
Yes.
I
actually had to go print off an Our Lads roster of the Falcons for Christian Fourier.
OurLads.com. Did you come up fast enough for him?
And I had to go because there was no printer in the entirety of Radio Row. 500 radio stations. 5 in the morning when we were there, but 500 total. Not a single fucking printer in the George Brown Convention Center. So I had to go to the Hilton. Awesome hotel. Thanks, Dad. I was able to use my dad's points to get my own room at the Hilton. And I got, I'd go there to print in the morning before the show, but then the midday guys and afternoon guys would come in and they'd need something. So at one point, Christian Fourier had me print him a Our Lads roster.
Wow, I'm a big Christian Fourier fan. I've got nothing negative to say about him.
I think Ken's an awesome producer.
Everybody that hates me loves you.
Be jealous.
It's quite the world. But yeah, so no, it was during the time in which we would normally record this, I would be searching for guests or helping out the midday guys.
Well, let's try to catch up a little bit here on one mighty podcast. So let's go back to Super Bowl week. We had no podcast at all. The big, I think, blockbuster story behind the scenes gossip was Chris Curtis v. Gary Tangway.
Maybe Gary Tangway decided to walk out and never come back.
You were not prepared for this verbal assault that you got from GT?
Not at all. I had always you had mentioned this to me a while ago, that I was the cause, or that Tangway was still really pissed at me. And then we obviously had the Merlone spat, we had all that stuff. But I had not personally seen Tangway since I followed him to the parking lot.
Really leaving?
I'm standing there with a couple of our great friends and competitors, classy, respectful.
Stay classy. That was a message from our post-show station meeting today.
Yes, class.
Classiest.
You think it was a shot at our show?
I don't think it was a Dale.
He's a whiny bitch.
Or at least on air Dale.
Right.
But so I'm just standing there with them and Kirk, and Tangway is just walking straight towards us. Kirk had made the plans that we were all getting dinner. Tangway, Minahan, myself, and Jerry. Long story short, Gary walks towards me and he goes, "You're going to have dinner with this fucking guy? With him? Curtis, you could go fuck yourself." And he's screaming in this massive convention center on the third floor. I mean, it's bellowing.
Did you know he was serious, or were you
unsure? I had no idea for the first 10, 15 seconds of this, because I just thought it was for show or whatever. But he never stopped walking.
F you, keep walking.
He continued.
It was the drive-by.
It was a drive-by, and he turned around, and he's pointing at me.
He green-flied the hell out of me.
Green-flied the hell out of you?
He's like, "You're a fucking snake. You can go fuck yourself." And he's like pointing him in. "You're going to have dinner with this guy?" Like pointing at me. And
he was supposed to come on with us last week, or was that just all a mirage? Was that a show?
I don't know. Well, two things. One, there's no way Gary does that unless there's a crowd. If he had just bumped into me, I'm sure he's mad at me. That was real. I don't think he has a right to be. That's for another person to decide. But
he was definitely feeling his oats after Tangway across America. He was feeling a little big time.
Right, and he wanted to be a story, right?
Yep.
Because if he's not on our show, the only way he can be a story is if he makes an ass of himself in a Velfie or he screams at a producer on the Kirk and Callahan show. Because God forbid he ever yells at actually Jerry or Kirk when he tells them individually different stories every time of what they want to hear about the other, because he doesn't have the balls to actually say why he's mad.
That's true. He told you on the walk to the car, Minahan can go fuck himself.
Right.
But
and he yelled
Kirk's
about
fault.
Callahan.
Jerry got all pissed off because I joked that he was a racist.
Right.
Called him some things. And so if there wasn't people around me, he would have just said, "Curtis, what's up? Asshole." Or I don't know what he would have said. Because I saw him later in the week.
Hanging Curtis.
And yeah, I saw him later in the week, and he was fine. He's like, "Hello, Chris." That's what he said to me. And I was walking out of the hotel.
He's just not all there.
So he's just insane, but he did it because he wanted to be a scene. Because literally that night, we walked into media night, which we'll get to another part of this discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And he's told everybody. I mean, literally, like, different people from Brand X are coming up to me. Chris Berman was like, "What happened with Tangway?" I was like, "I know, Chris."
The wine was good. And did you think of me when you drank it?
I mean, it was everywhere. So he wanted it to be a big story and to be a newsworthy day for him.
Now, a couple of days prior, that was, what night was that?
No, that was the same night.
Oh, that was Monday night.
Yes.
Okay, so night one in Houston's a busy night. Charlotte Wilder.
I talked to people all over the state.
SB Nation.
You and Kirk got one thing done on media night. On the first night, you found Charlotte Wilder. Was it a confrontation? Is that the best way to describe it? Or it was a meeting of the minds?
So Kirk and I had just done a loop around media night, trying to find any low-hanging ESPN personality to get on, and nobody's there. There was not the vibe for it. There weren't ESPN personalities really there that we wanted to talk to. So we're just hanging out in Zarbana where somebody comes by, and I'm like, oh, that's Charlotte Wilder walking. And Kirk's like, really? I go, yeah. So we walk up. Charlotte Wilder's with someone else, and I said, or one of us says, hey, Charlotte, it's Kirk from Kirk and Callahan. And I had the microphone and the recorder in my hands, but she was about 5 feet away from me, 4 feet away from me. And she looks at Kirk and she goes, I don't want to do this. And Kirk instantly says, put the recorder away, no problem. That was the extent of it. And then I put the recorder down, and the two of them were just standing next to each other, and Kirk was like, I'd like to talk to you, whatever. In my opinion, if you write something like that, you should be criticized for it.
This dude has a Trump hat in his locker.
Never once raising his voice, never once pointing, never once doing anything.
She's a woman. That's a factor in it.
Just a simple conversation at the craziness of media night where you have people proposing to players. You have people dressed in cupcake outfits.
Yeah.
I mean,
Chris Price, I think, proposed to Ryan Hannibal. It was a touching moment.
Thank you.
She is over-dramatizing this. Over-dramatizing this, if I could speak English.
Whose fault is it?
I will blame...
Blame who? Blame who?
And she's just inching away from Kirk, like, I'm just not ready for this. I don't want to talk to you. Mm-hmm. Okay. And Kirk is just doing that whole classic, okay, just, giving you a chance, wanted to talk with you, explain what I was thinking or whatever. That was the extent of it. Lasted maybe a minute, maybe. And then she just walked up the stairs and left the field. So,
now, as we talked about on the show today, you guys found on her Facebook correspondences an accusation which was supported by Ryan Hannibal, the aforementioned.
She was confronted at a bar, and you guys tried to buy drinks from across the room, and she wouldn't take them or something like that, and then you tried to give her $20 or something like that to buy her drink.
Buying drinks, dropping $20 bills? Where does this come from?
Yeah, so a couple of listeners sent the show and Kirk a screen grab of a Facebook conversation where she was talking about Kirk and Callahan. Kirk and Callahan listeners are everywhere. It said that we had approached her at a bar at 12:30 at night trying to buy her drinks.
That's a lie.
And that it was creepy as fuck.
And it's not true.
Interestingly enough, I was not outside of my room past 9:30 Central Time the entire trip, let alone at a bar trying to get drinks with Charlotte Wilder. I know the same's true for Kirk and Jerry. The implication with that post was that they were trying to sort of pick her up or, prey on the young girl at the bar late at night.
I have found wife number 2.
That's untrue as far as we know, unless Jerry had a secret rendezvous.
I want to hear more about the stripper pole. Where is it now? You brought it home.
So the whole thing's a complete and total lie. Nobody from the show spoke with Charlotte Wilder outside of that 2 to 3 minute exchange at media night where people are credentialed part of the media speaking with other members of the media.
I mean, I'm offended. It's impugning your character, in addition to Kirk's, of course.
I mean, Kirk's a married man. I'm on the ropes. I can't have these stories out there.
You're already divorced.
That's
true. It actually makes some sense with the divorce story.
You never know.
You're going after Charlotte.
This is a classic case of somebody wrote something that exploded, didn't like the initial heat because the story sucked, and then is missing the limelight, so they're trying to bring it back to that. She wrote again recently about the Patriots, which is why we were brought up on this Facebook post, and she's starting to sort of bullshit around to try and become the story again.
Give me a quick Cliff Notes version. How was Jerry on the road this time? How was Kirk on the road this time? Let's talk about Jerry first. Who's off this week?
It was a really good week for the show. The Super Bowl is good with them because they're not searching out. I mean, I didn't get Trump, and Jerry's still mad about that, and I understand. But in terms of the show, the content we had, the merger happened in the middle of the show. We had a lot of stuff going on, and we had, I think, the right guests and not too many guests. At night, I would say everything is the best when you're out with Jerry. Like, we had fajitas, and he loved the steak fajitas that we got.
Great.
They're the best.
Great.
We went out to the steakhouse, and I do
Is he
think...
a Yelp guy, or did he scout it up beforehand?
No, we just sort of... there was a restaurant in their hotel and a restaurant in my hotel. That's where we ate.
Great.
That's basically the extent of our searching. But
so Jerry likes to go out every night, but he doesn't like to travel far. He's just kind of a Short access.
He wants it right there. He wants a cold beer.
Great.
And a big TV.
Great.
And he's one of those guys that whatever he's doing feels like it's, in his mind, it's the best.
Great.
This flatbread, you got to get it. It's the best.
Great.
Or this nachos are great.
Fascinating.
That's an admirable quality there.
It's enjoyable. And so we went to the one night I got myself in trouble is that we had said we wanted to do a steakhouse in Texas.
Oh, yeah, he told the story in the air, yeah.
And so we went to this Three Forks, which was awesome. Very pricey.
You had the porterhouse.
Yeah, it was. Mine was like, I don't even know how expensive my meal was. I just threw my card in blindly and said, "Thank God they didn't take it."
Oh, God, please don't let this happen.
And so Jerry was a little frustrated. He brought it up like 3 or 4 times afterwards.
Are you submitting that to for the bill or no? Is Entercom picking up the tab?
I don't know. I think that was part of our per diem, but the per diem probably lasted for about the rolls at that meal. No, but Jerry we had a good time. I don't think any of us really liked Houston, but I thought Jerry and Kirk both were pretty easy to deal with. It wasn't,
Kirk didn't go out with you guys much, though.
We went out together 4 of the 5 nights.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it was, we had our big dinner out with Zarbano where we saw Tony Maz and Shaughnessy sitting together.
Don't blame me. I was here first.
Kirk bitch session, I'm sure. And I don't know, it was relatively outside of all the other, the bullshit you have to put up with at Super Bowl week where you're always sort of going.
Yeah.
I thought the shows didn't suffer in terms of the content that we did, and I thought the guys were relatively low maintenance to deal with.
Now, this week follows up a week of Jet. I was off last week for the birth of my daughter. Good to be back and maybe get an hour's sleep here on the couch in the KNC studios. This may be my sanctuary for a little
while.
You
do have about 20 in-laws at the Casa
de
Laird.
They were in and out. Just the mother-in-law left. But
okay.
Believe me, I'm thankful for that at this point with what we've been through. But how was Jet? You and Jet, the producer, hated each other, I would think, mutually going into the week. I was a little worried about you guys, but it seems like as the week went on, you guys came to an understanding. You softened on Jet a little bit. He did all right.
There was one moment where Jet said he was going to leave. He said...
Oh, really?
Yeah. So...
Pull a Tangway?
During a show, not on the air, but during a show, there was some, Jamel Hill racist drop or something.
The gold standard of racism.
I have a grace period of 4 or 5 seconds when I'm working with someone who isn't usually in on the show.
Yeah.
And then I have to yell it out because we can't have Jerry and Kirk be staring in waiting for that drop.
There's a drop the hosts want, but the producer, the board op, may not know.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think it was Jamel Hill saying Boston's racist. And I'm like, do you not know where that fucking thing is? Because I was mentioning it. And he's like, if you want me to leave, he said, if you yell at me again, I'm going to fucking leave, Curtis. And I was like, okay, well, stop yelling. I don't want you to leave. But that was on Monday or Tuesday. I think that was Tuesday. And at that point, it was just the guys were all tired. We were, still on fumes from the Super Bowl.
Yeah, right. The parade's happening.
The parade's happening.
Big Bruins news. Christ, I missed that.
Breaking Bruins news. So it was a little bumpy. And then, the reads weren't organized, so Jerry could never know where his read was, and Jerry had a line of oh, what an operation we got here, So it was a little choppy, but I thought Jet really picked it up at the end of the week, and by Friday, Thursday after the show was really his high point, where he was talking about Fourier with the gossip about Paul.
He gave Paul a hard time about working another job.
Which led to a newsmaker today.
Which led to a big Friday show on News Again today. So
good. As I told you, I like Jet. He's got some good qualities.
I would work with him again. I thought he did a good job. I thought it's a tough show to be thrown into. As he said on the air, he said, it's thankless. You never really notice until you fuck up. So he handled it well. Jerry likes him. I thought it did okay.
Good. As you and I were noticed today in the 8 o'clock hour, was not our best landing, I would say, on the rejoin here, on the re-entry into KNC. The real KNC, the Dream Team was a little rough today.
Jeez, us, Christ. What?
I thought we were going to the...
what? Yeah, but people listen to the car. What is that?
I was told... miscommunication on this side. I thought that was... Curtis went in and talked to you. You said come out with that.
Did I say come out with that?
I thought we were going to play the Howie Cloth sound coming
so
out.
Where's the miscommunication, Ken?
I didn't properly, say that.
The story of the day is Ken Laird, who is really struggling. What is...
It's okay. I actually thought the first couple hours of the show were decent. I mean, it was Sporty Fiesta Day.
Is the current Isaiah Thomas better than the old Isaiah Thomas?
After, a couple of decent hours, we got into... Well, we were going to get into the Dana-Farber stuff, which had been... Did you guys touch on this last week a little bit or no?
So Friday's show, we had read from the story, and then I got this Howie Cloth guy on.
Cloth on, yeah.
And we did about 30 minutes on it. And so here's where the entire breakdown occurred.
Well, it starts with, I have not heard the Howie Cloth interview from last Friday. Much of last week is a blur to me.
Right, but you were off. You just had a child. That's understandable. So
sort of, but it's still my responsibility.
Before the 7 o'clock hour, we had teased it. I think we still teased it again. We teased it 16 times.
These idiots that are using the Dana-Farber cancer research, the money that they raise, to show their anger about Donald Trump being our president.
And I was thinking of possibly getting a cut ready after the short open or something from Howie Cloth. So I talked to our intern, Aaron. I said, hey, can you cut up Howie and grab some sound of that? And he said, okay. I went in right before the top of the hour. The cuts that he had or the place he was in the audio wasn't exactly what I was looking for. And I was like, no, we're not going to use that right now. Fast forward till 8 or 8:30, whenever we got back into it.
Yeah.
And I go in and I talk to Kirk, and he said, yeah, have Howie Cloth, come out. Or I said, do you want to have Howie Cloth coming out? And he said, sure. So I said, Aaron, do we have that protest sound or Howie Cloth sound? I don't know, it was Dana-Farber sound. And he said, yes. I said, okay, yeah, it's in carts. And then you pulled the protester sound.
Yeah, which was the only audio that we had in there.
So
It was
none of the audio that I had talked to Aaron about had been put in.
No, we don't even have Howard Cloth ready to go. Curtis is scrambling trying to get Howard Cloth ready.
Ken, how is that possible? He was on the show Friday. We played the sound on Friday.
Well, how would he said...
He said it to us in here. Curtis came in and said, Howard, am I making this up?
You guys want to come back? You guys want to come back?
Howard Cloth.
Howard Cloth from Friday?
How does he not have that sound right now? All right, now, I'm just laid back Monday. No one's working. No one's really paying attention. I understand that. But I'm here, okay? I am tired as well. I'm always tired. I have 2 kids. I don't sleep ever. I got a lot going on. He comes in and says, Howard Cloth. And then he doesn't have Howard Cloth sound?
Which leads to, not only are we coming back and we don't have it, it's not like we can click a different folder and find it. It is not there. We didn't even have a 10-second cut of anything from Howie.
Which is all we pretty much needed.
Right. Which is all we just wanted to
get
set
into
up.
the protest sound.
Right.
Which was fresher.
So, it was a epic fail. I had Aaron, the intern, working
Assuming was that a mistake to do that?
Assuming was a mistake on my part,
so
yes.
Ken screwed up and you screwed up.
I never said I didn't screw up.
You just paused when I asked you to do it the first time. You came in and asked, you said, Howard Cloth. And then you go back in the other room. Ken doesn't have Howard Cloth. He comes out with the sound of the woman who we're going to tease. And then we don't have Howard Cloth anyway? How is that possible?
All around.
Which led to derailing the entire last half of the 8 o'clock hour, the last 30 minutes. I don't know if that was particularly a bad thing today. I don't know if would that have actually been a good discussion? I guess it would have been okay. We could have kicked it around for a while. It's an easy thing to pick on.
Honest to God, you looked out the window today, there were like 3 cars on the road. And we did that Brady-Garoppolo discussion. Any other day, you do that. You're going to get full lines or banked lines.
If I'm Belichick, Peter King writes, I'd rather have a quarterback I know I can win January games on my roster in 2017 than go without him and have a first-round pick instead.
Terrible sentence, first of all.
Saying the Patriots aren't going to trade him.
He thinks he'd rather have Garoppolo as a backup who he thinks can win the game if Brady gets hurt than a high first-round pick is nuts. That's
insane.
Lunacy.
Yeah.
And you're going to get reaction and, all that stuff.
We did a Grammy segment today. We did Bruins talk today. We did Red Sox camp preview. A mocking preview of a preview.
Rochi was 6 to midnight listening on the app.
Our best segment may have been headlines just talking about Fourier and Paul Chartier.
I thought that was excellent. Reliving that was good. We actually got back into it as well with the green fly.
The green flied the hell out of me.
Green fly the hell out of you?
I thought that was Paul's finest moment. That was absolutely outstanding.
And you and Paul get along, right?
I love Paul.
Yeah, Paul's always been a Curtis fan, so that's
no issue with Paul. I get along with Jet now.
Jesus, everybody's making friends.
Andy and I are getting dinner.
I would say that's a lie.
That's a lie.
You and the afternoon producers still hate each other, but that's good. We had our post-show meeting with the big bosses today. We had merger talk on our show, if you'd care to hear it. Rampant speculation at 8:55 or so, but we got some updates from the company. Of course, you and I, as company people, we can't reveal much of what was said, other than to say there were some veiled shots at perhaps our morning show not being classy with this transition thus far.
Do you have any actual questions about the merger? Anybody? Because I can answer them. I know.
What's going to happen to WAF?
Gone.
Selling the station?
Yes.
Ooh.
It's my understanding.
What happens to the Hillman Morning Show?
Gone. Totally evaporated.
LB?
Gone.
Danielle?
Out of the country.
Mike Shue?
Don't know who that is, but if he's a nice guy, then we'll keep him around. How's that?
It's breaking news. I didn't know this.
Mistress Carey, gone.
It was interesting whenever they were talking about the culture and how things were done. The eyes of the room went to one Ken Laird and Chris Curtis about the classy nature.
The 3 C's, I would call it. Class, the culture, and client-friendly. And I'm not sure of all the now merged entities and personalities, they view K&C, the morning show, as very client-friendly, which they would like us to be.
When I hear client-friendly, I think Kirk Minahan. I got to tell you.
She's going to go right on top of me, and we're going to go up and down on the casket.
That's true. He does hawk a lot of products. I don't know why they would consider that unclient-friendly.
He loves O'Reilly Auto Parts. Goes there after the show.
Big Cumbie spokesperson. Pajamagram.
He does it all.
Nonetheless, I think that could be the takeaways. Other than that, and Ben Kitchen, the executive producer, making a power play and asking about 16 questions at the fucking thing. It would have ended an hour sooner if not. What was he asking about? The something dot
play dot
play dot it. Yes, he's asking play dot it questions in the.
Well, I mentioned this briefly in the office. The day that Phil introduced himself to the entire cluster a couple years ago.
Phil, our general manager, our fearless leader.
The general managers, Phil Zachary.
We had this full conference room, and everybody was there. And there was this guy, I'll just leave him nameless because he got very sensitive when we talked about this on the air. And he's saying, he's like, "Hi, I'm so-and-so, and I work for WAAF." And Phil's like, "Hello, nice to meet you." He's like, "I had a job at Hartford, and I got offered this here because it was part-time, but it was WAAF." We're all looking around like, who is this guy? So thankfully today we didn't have that, but Ben was a little much with the play.it question.
You and I were silent, as we like to be at these. Get out, get in, and get out. Shut your mouth.
Be seen, not heard.
Yes.
Shut up!
Rest of the week. You want to set it up? We've got Pete Shepard in tomorrow. I was hoping for a Pete Shepard, Alex Reamer combo.
You freaking Muppet.
To perhaps spark a little more Muppet controversy, but that's not going to happen tomorrow, right?
No, but you may see, I don't know if the Ream job is around tomorrow, so if he's, hanging around the offices in the 9 o'clock hour, maybe pop in.
Possibility of an ambush, okay.
A little ambush with a little Pete on. It was last time over the phone.
Yeah.
Pete had the advantage.
Right.
If we're going to redo this, we want to have it on equal footing. So you might see a Reamer versus Shepard tomorrow at some point.
Mutt and Shepard get along that well. They've had some shots at one another over the years.
Do you like Pete Shepard personally?
I think he's a nice guy.
So maybe they might have some friction there.
Yeah, and they do a show now from time to time on Mutt at Night.
That's true. Shep's the Mutt fill-in.
Yeah. So he hosted with Mutt a couple weeks ago.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah.
I missed that.
So I don't know. We'll see. I saw Pete yesterday, and he was not happy with the lack of an instant replay as his lead-in for his Sunday morning show. The producer Ben Charleston, who does a great job overnight, was in and had ESPN Radio running and not the best of the week, and Pete was...
Oh, he wanted a little lead-in.
He wanted a lead-in.
Some ratings to...
That Sunday morning Shepard and Thornton show needs a little boost. We have Amani.
To do more be more active.
That's one thing. They wanted a lead-in.
Shepard tomorrow, followed by Trenny Wednesday?
No Trenny this week. She's in Fort Myers. Shepard, Reamer, Meter, and then Friday we closed it out with Mutt and Kirk.
Jerry's week off, and the guys, you all reunite next week
in Fort Myers.
For our week in Fort Myers.
And if you could do me a favor, if you do watch the Super Bowl today,
yeah,
I really like it when people watch the game after it airs and live tweet it.
I was thinking about that.
So if you could take the Kirk and Callahan account for a spin, second and third tweet at Matt Chatham. You didn't like the wham block.
Over.
Yep.
Told you this defense was suspect.
Brady falling off a cliff.
Yeah.
I think it would be good. Listeners would enjoy it.
All right, I will see what I can do. Good to be back with you.
Great to have you. I missed you terribly. It's good to have you back.
Miss you too, Curtis.
Tomorrow will be better than today.
Somebody talk! What is going on?
We're ready to go.
Ready for what?
We got Howie Cloth.
It's too late. It's already 8:40.
All right, see you tomorrow.